Sacerdotus Hangouts, the broadcast that answers doubts about God, the Catholic Church, science, philosophy, and other worldly topics figured out.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. We are starting a new season of Atheist Open Mic. The last episode was back in August, and we have had a bit of a break since then. But I'm glad we're back. And again, I was hoping that some atheists would join on today's broadcast, but as usual, they seem to get a bit of cowardice in them or whatever, and they seem to just want to hide behind comment boxes and communities on Google Plus and whatnot. And that's sad. I mean, and lately they've been whining about me disabling comments and whatnot. And the reason why I do that is because when I have tried to start a dialogue or discussion on these community groups or communities, I keep using groups. I keep mixing Facebook with Google Plus. But anyhow, you get the idea. These communities. The reason why I blocked the comment boxes is because when I first joined these communities, I did post some of my blog posts and other relevant articles relating to atheism, theism, science, religion, whatever. And for the most part, the comments that I had received were completely irrelevant, have nothing to do with the post at hand, which tells me that these people don't even bother to read the things that I posted. Because if they had read it, they will understand it and will post a more educated response. But they seem to just want to post things randomly and distract from the topic, derail the topic of the thread. And then the others resort to juvenile games, insults, personal jabs, snarky remarks, and whatnot. And no one really has time for any of that. I mean, if you have time for that, God bless you. If you have time to read those things and really respond to that, if you have the time to do that, then I mean, that's on you. But if for somebody like me that's very busy, and especially with my studies and now writing books, which I just released my book, Atheism is Stupid. I'm going to speak about that a little bit later on. You cannot waste time on stupid things like that, going back and forth on comment boxes on Google Plus or even Facebook or Twitter. And I learned that the hard way, because when I did start this whole thing online, I tried to be open with everyone, try to respond to everyone, specifically on Twitter, because that's where I really started it. And Facebook came later on, and then Google Plus. But on Twitter, when I first started the account back in 2009, I hardly used it. I just tweeted a few times, and then it's like a year passed, 2 years passed, and I did not use it because I really did not find it fun. Or even though people are now going crazy tweeting and whatnot and hashtagging here and there, it did not interest me at all. I'm not really that type of person. Telling everybody what's my business every second. It's just something that's not cool to me or attractive to me. I'm more of a nerdy type, if you will, like to read and go to museums and things like that, enjoying the outdoors and of course comic books, video games, and things like that, music. I play piano and a bit of guitar and whatnot. So this whole social media phenomenon thing really didn't catch on with me, and so I really didn't pay no mind to it. But when I did start to use a little bit more, since Pope Benedict at the time wanted priests, clergy, religious seminarians, whoever, to use this new form of media to evangelize, and I started to get more used to it, and eventually I figured out that people can actually message you on Twitter. I did not know you could do that at the time. I thought you just tweeted status updates and that's it. And then whoever followed you read them. And I had no idea that you could use hashtags and mentions and all that stuff. I really did not know about that because then again, Twitter does not come with instructions. You have to figure it out as you play with it. And anyhow, that's started messaging me. A lot of people were messaging me. And I was a bit shocked because most of the things weren't even related to apologetics or whatever you want to call it, in the sense of me going after atheism or whatnot. Because again, at the time, that was not my intention. I was not doing that. I didn't even have a site. I didn't even have a blog yet. I just had this Twitter account. So I would just post random prayer sayings or whatnot. And I was surprised at the response that I got. A lot of it negative, a lot of anger and hate out there, I realized. And then I just started from there. I started to respond to people. Then one time I was put in what's called Twitter jail, which is when they freeze up your account. I'm not sure they still do that now, because a couple of times I have been tweeting a lot within an hour and was not frozen by Twitter. So I'm not sure they took out that thing, and if they did, good, because it was annoying. It's bad enough that you have a 140 character limit, but now after you tweet 1,000 times or so, they freeze you, and you cannot tweet until an hour or 3 hours later. And eventually, the whole Twitter thing was just ridiculous. I mean, how can you even use it to discuss or do anything if you respond to people, you get all these tweets, and a couple people tweet more than once because there's actually a back and forth going on. And then Twitter comes out of nowhere and freezes you or puts you in Twitter jail. And then you have to wait an hour or more to have the ability to type again and tweet. Meanwhile, there's more tweets coming in, and there's nothing you could do about it. You can't respond to them because Twitter froze you. I found it ridiculous, and it pretty much defeated the purpose of Twitter. So I backed away from it for a while, but anyhow, I was still tempted to go and respond to atheists and some pro-abortion people and whatnot, and a couple of LGBT people and whatnot, and of course fundamentalists and the Protestant faith. So that's when a nun advised me that I should start a site, and she introduced me to the whole idea of blogging, and that's when I gave it a shot. I started the blog up and whatnot, and then I was surprised how it exploded. Many people started viewing it, and especially when I wrote about atheism and things like that, more people started viewing the blog, and it just exploded from there in popularity. And it wasn't until I really wrote about issues at hand, such as abortion, this and that, where it really got more popular. And one post, pro-choice debunked, it had over 1,000 views. It just 2 hours or 3 hours or so, if my memory serves me. And later on, when I wrote about atheism, especially the Atheism is Stupid blog series, that's when it really even increased the popularity of the blog, and we went from there. And that's when I realized that there's a lot of hungry people out there. There's a lot of atheists out there who genuinely want to ask questions and genuinely want to process the answers that they receive. So that's when I started the Rationally Faithful blog, hoping to get a discussion going there. But unfortunately, it seems that these so-called atheists online. And the reason why I say so-called is because I, coming from an atheist background myself, from a more academic atheism background, atheistic background, I found that these people online who label themselves atheists and whatnot, they seem to be more into just playing games and trolling and things like that. I never got the impression that these people are serious about what they believe in or serious about their misconceptions, their questions, and their ideas. I never got the impression that they were serious at all. So that's why I use those words to describe them, alleged atheists and so-called atheists. I use that terminology, because these people haven't convinced me that they're genuinely atheists, serious. I mean, you could say that you don't believe in God, but if you don't know how to organize yourself around that idea, then that's a red flag for me, because you could just be a teenager behind a computer, just taking on different character roles and pretending to be different things, just to have a good time for whatever reason. Maybe you can't make friends in the real world. Maybe you feel lonely. Maybe your parents stressed you out, or something happened, and you want to vent by going online and creating these little cartoonish characters, and venting by harassing people and pretending to be big and bad, where in person you're meek and cowardly. So to me, that's how I see the psychology of these alleged atheists online and whatnot. And which brings me to the whole disabling thing on Google Plus. As I stated in the beginning, I blocked the comment feature and whatnot. For those of you listening who are not aware of how Google Plus works, because I believe Google Plus is not as popular as Twitter. I don't have the numbers, so I cannot confirm it. But from my perception, my point of view, it seems that Google Plus is towards the end of popularity in regards to social media. It seems more people are fond of Twitter and Facebook. And Facebook more because you could post pictures and things like that, and befriend people and whatnot. And Twitter more because you could get a lot of information there, and you could get things started quickly there in regards to hashtags and whatnot. So on Google Plus, they have these things called communities, which is the equivalent of Facebook groups, where you could start your own. Granted that it fits the guidelines of Google's rules or whatever, even though they don't even follow their own rules. But you set up your own community and you become the quote unquote owner of it, and you could leave it open so that anybody could join it, or you could leave it set up that people had to request for permission to join. And they also give you the ability to promote it not only on your Google Plus profile, but in any other community that you may have joined that you're not a moderator or owner. So once you have your community, you could also set up certain people that you trust as moderators if you want to do that. You do not have to do that. And these communities pretty much work almost like Facebook in regards to the groups on Facebook. You start a thread rather, and people start commenting below it. Some with some differences, of course, in regards to Facebook, that you can on Facebook you can't really delete. I'm not sure you could delete comments made by other people. So if you start a thread in a Facebook group, if you're not the owner or moderator of that group, you cannot edit your own thread. You could just report as spam, and Facebook hides it and pretends it disappear, almost like a placebo effect that they did something to whatever to protect you from this comment that bothered you or whatnot. Whereas on Google, the communities in Google Plus, if you start a thread, you can actually delete comments and report them as spam or harassment or whatever. But you can also disable comments, and you can also disable the ability of resharing the thread that you started. This is where it upsets atheists in regards to yours truly. As I said it before, I started threads and posted my blog content and whatnot, and left it open. But when I started to realize the nonsense that was being posted on it, I mean, over 150 comments, and not one of them said anything of substance. I mean, who has the time to read that? So I decided, let's just shut it down. I mean, if these people really were interested, and they will post genuine comments that make sense, that are intelligible, educated, and whatnot. Instead, these people want to use these comment boxes to harass people and mock them and whatnot. And to them, it's a big thing. It's like the whole purpose of being in the community. So when I started to disable that feature, when I decided to not give these people the platform to engage in their nonsense, I pretty much took away their power. And once you take away somebody's power, they become defensive. And that's what's happening with these so-called atheists and this community in particular. I disable the comments, and then they go berserk, they go bonkers, complaining. Why did you block this? Why do you leave it open? Why don't you leave it? This is a discussion board. Why? And whatnot, all this whining and whining and whining. And to me, I could give a hoot what they think, because I mean, Google Plus allows you to do it. They give you the feature. You can't do it on Facebook, so I don't do it on Facebook. But since Google Plus gives you the ability to disable comments and reshare these threads that you start, then I make use of it. It's their system, it's their network. They put it in there. Why not use it? So I use it solely because these people haven't proven to me that they are serious, or that they really want to engage in a civil discussion, engage in argue in favor of my point of view or against my point of view, or whatever the topic happens to be. We're discussing Christmas, or the Virgin Mary, or a miracle of Pope Francis, or whatever. But if I start a thread and about the Bible, and the comments that are left on that thread are only children believe in fairy tales or things like that, and then curse words, and then insults, or you're moronic, or you're an imbecile, whatnot. Who has time to read all that or even engage in that nonsense? That's junior high school behavior. And no disrespect to preteens out there, but I'm sure all of us experience one way or another the juvenile behavior back in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and possibly into high school. And then it started to wind down as we got closer to college age and whatnot. We start to mature. So that's the reason why I disable these things. But guess what? That's why I have these type of broadcasts, Atheist Open Mic, so that you can join and discuss with me, ask questions, and and we proceed from there. And naturally, I cannot disable your voice. I know somebody told me the other day on another community that I might disable somebody's voice, and he or she was trying to be funny, but I didn't get it until later on. I got what he was saying, but that's just me. I just tend to look at things logically and not emotionally. So when you throw out sarcasm or little jokes or slapstick, whatever you want to call it, out there in the internet or whatnot, I may not get it the first time, and so do not do that. Most likely in person, I will get it because I will be able to study your body language, which will give me cues that you're joking or not, or being sarcastic or just genuinely upset at me. But online, I cannot see you. All I see is text, words, letters, and it's not that easy to figure out what is it that you're thinking behind those words and letters and whatnot. So you cannot expect me to pick up on that quickly. And generally, I don't think a lot of people do. And I see this a lot with relationships and whatnot, where a simple text can destroy a marriage or a relationship between a boyfriend and girlfriend. Something is misinterpreted, whatnot. And somebody could text, I'm going out with a girl, and the person texting it might mean that he's going on out with a female or somebody of the opposite gender. But the girlfriend might see the text and think of it as he's cheating on me, and then all hell breaks loose. So online text and communication is funny that way. It could lead to disaster and misinterpretation and whatnot. And being that my mind tends to work logically or rationally more than emotionally, and I think you could tell that in my voice that I'm really not that hyper or in your face excited or emotional. Then you cannot expect anybody to figure out what's going on from your end based on just text and characters and whatnot. So, with that being said, it's unfortunate that these same atheists who whine, or so-called atheists, I gotta stop calling them atheists because I do not believe they are, but for the sake of the word and the situation, I will call them alleged atheists. It's sad that these people claim to want to have the discussion. They complain and whine and whatnot about me disabling comments because, according to them, they want to discuss it. And the community is a discussion forum and whatnot. Yet here I am, I'm offering them a discussion forum where they can speak to me live and comment, ask questions, ask for clarification. And who knows, maybe I will be able to better understand your input on any specific thing because I will hear your inflection and the tone of your voice, and I can tell your mood from there. And I can see, cognitively speaking, psychologically speaking, that whether you're upset at me or you're genuinely interested in something I said and want me to follow up on it, etc., etc. Now, I'm going to start the chat thing, which hopefully some people will join and ask questions. So I set it up so anybody out there that's listening, that's watching right now, just send in your questions or comments, and I'll try my best to get to them. And then we can proceed from there. In the meantime, I want to speak about certain things in regards to my book, Atheism is Stupid. Now, I'm going to try to show the book here if Google Plus allows me to. And you can probably hear my clicks in the background from the mouse and the little scroll wheel, barrel, whatever you call it. And I'm going to try to get Google Plus to show the screen that I have on my monitor here, so that you can see the book. I've been promoted all over the place. Well, anyhow, I wrote this book. It's been a work in progress for a couple years, and this book is based on a series that I started back in 2012, 2011, I believe. And hopefully you're seeing what I'm saying, which is the first page of, not the first page, but one of the pages on my site, which is about my book when I released it on sale. And the title of the book is Atheism is Stupid. And again, I wish I had a webcam. If I had a webcam, I would be flashing it right now. I actually have the book in my hand right now. I will be, you'll probably hear the pages here flipping around. And I will actually show you and open it and give a presentation on it briefly, because it's about 284 pages long. And with the 208 pages, some of it, of course, is the table of contents, the index, and references and whatnot. But it's a pretty good sized book. I did not want to make it too long because, unfortunately, not everybody likes reading like I do. I could take a 500, 900 page book and read it usually within a day or 2 days, and depending on my schedule, and I will grab another one and read it. It's something that I like to do. And I know somebody on the community, atheist versus theist, a lady, a girl, whoever, it might be a man pretending to be a girl, but she or he, whatever, was insinuating I'm autistic. And I mean, that's just ridiculous, just because I mentioned my IQ score and whatnot, and the way my brain functions. But again, this person is ignorant on psychology and cognition and how atheism works in correlation with high IQ and low EQ. So she or he is not clearly well read on the matter, on the topic. But anyhow, this book, Atheism is Stupid, like I said, is based on a series that I started on my site a couple years ago. And basically what I wanted to do was not insult atheists or call them stupid. And I made that clear in the post back then, years ago. And I made that clear in the book too. As a matter of fact, let me find the page where I said that in the beginning. Should be somewhere around here in the beginning. On page 7, I wrote, I must be clear on that this book is not meant to offend atheists or belittle them. I call atheism, quote unquote, stupid, not atheists themselves. And I made that clear in the book. And unfortunately, some alleged atheists jumped the gun and started to attack me and the book the day that it was released. So I quickly posted the news that the book was finally out on Create Space and also Amazon and other places out there. And just to let them know they wanted to pick it up or whatnot. And then I headed to the movies with my nephew. We went to see not Star Wars, but Alvin and the Chipmunks Road Trip. He's a kid, and I'm a kid at heart, I think. And so we decided to see that, and probably it was a good decision because of the crowds waiting to see the Star Wars movie. And I'm not particularly a fan of Star Wars. I prefer Star Trek. Um, I'm more like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who sees Star Trek as more realistic, more scientific in a sense, even though it's built on fiction, science fiction, and whatnot. So anyhow, when the movie was over, went back home and wanted to see the response that I got from the book. On Twitter, a couple of Catholics were happy about the book. A couple of Protestants, they were clicking the little heart icon, which used to be the favorite button or whatever. And so I said to myself, okay, good. The people are liking this book. It's really good. And it was selling pretty good, as a matter of fact, which I was surprised when in the time frame. It was released around 4 something, 4:30 in the afternoon, Easter time, in the United States. And the book started selling really good, despite just one tweet promotion, one post on Google Plus, one post on Facebook and whatnot. And unfortunately, which I was expecting because I was being threatened before when I first announced that I was going to write a book. Some of these alleged atheists who just used the comment threads that I started in the Google Plus communities, they have promised that they were going to post bad reviews on the book and whatnot. So they have promised that they were going to be spiteful and whatnot. So I was expecting that. And I really doesn't really pay no mind to me because generally those things don't bother me. And because again, the way my brain works, I see things logically, so I really don't see things emotionally. I'm not gonna pull my hair out if somebody posts a bad review, or even when people curse me out or whatnot. I just look at them, wondering, okay, so what do we do next? And I really don't process those things like the general public tends to, where they will pull out a baseball bat and bash the person over the head when they get insulted. I do not do that. I just stay calm. It doesn't really trigger any emotion, any response from me. So these people started posting bad reviews on Amazon, and anyone who's intelligent, anyone who knows math, anyone who's rational will see that these reviews are fake. They were clearly meant to be spiteful, to tarnish the book and whatnot, and to just give low ratings. That's the only intention of it. Because the book is self-published, so it pretty much goes on sale when I decide it goes on sale. And also, since it's self-published, there's not copies out there already print. It's not like I can go somewhere and start signing copies there and hand it out to people. These books get published as they get ordered. So if 10 people order it, 100,000 people order it, there's going to be 10, 100, or 1,000 books made specifically for those orders. So there's not going to be a stock or an inventory of this book out there unless somebody out there buys them in bulk or whatnot, or message me asking me to sell them to them in bulk, quantity, or bulk price, I should say. So if you do the math again, the book was released on December 18th of last year, 2015, around 4 o'clock, 4:30. And then you get a review on the same day, an hour later or 2 hours later, criticizing the book and whatnot. Right off the bat, you could tell that the review is fake because it takes time for the book to be printed out, to be fashioned up. Then it takes time to ship it. Then when it gets shipped, you have to take into account the timing of the shipment. Is it going to come in 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days, depending on where you live? So there was no way that anybody had the book. The only one that had the book was myself, a couple of people that I gave copies to, which were not even good copies. They were just proof copies that had mistakes on it. I just gave it to them just so they could look at it and see what they thought about it. And some of them are professors and people from the university. So even they didn't get the final product, so to speak. The final product is on a SD. Is it a SD? Yeah, SD. Those little black cards, the SD cards, on a card that I have, and the book is there along with my other books and content that's in the process of being fixed up and whatnot. So nobody at the time had the book. Only me. Only I had the copy of the final draft, if you want to call it that, and then the people that I gave the proof copies to. And as far as the electronic copy, nobody else had that either because it's not up yet. It will be soon. The ebook version of it will be soon, but it's not up there. So naturally, that would have been the fastest way to get the book on the day it was released. If it was an ebook version available in ebook version, then people could buy it and download it on their what do you call it, the Kindle thing, Kindle ebook, whatever they call it, and the iPad and all that stuff, and they would have got it instantly as a download or whatnot. But since it was not released in that fashion, then it was just the hard paperback version. And there was no way that anybody could have gotten the book to make a review so fast. So those reviews are phony or false or are just meant to just attack me and my stuff, pretty much. That's the whole intention. And this will continue to happen until I go and sue these people, whatnot, or Amazon sues them or whatnot. And because, I mean, there's people out there in the world, for whatever reason, they become spiteful. Most likely it's envy. They know that they're not able to do these things. They're probably not able to even write a paragraph, so they get upset when they see somebody who they possibly dislike for whatever reason be able to write a 200 plus book and have the popularity to actually get it to sell. So it bothers people and whatnot, and that's unfortunate. That's just a sign that the person is troubled, there's something wrong with the person or whatnot. For somebody to take the time to make a bad review or try to hurt somebody else's work or profession or whatever, for someone to take the time to do that, then there's obviously something wrong in that person's psychology. There's something that's triggering them to behave in this manner. Usually people, anyone who's sane, who's intelligent, who's civil, would say congratulations and whatnot. Even one of the atheists that I tried to have a debate with, who was banned from Twitter, Ruby Condor. This lady, she released an ebook, I think, and it was posted on Amazon, and you will not find a review from me on that page. One, I don't have the book, so I'm not going to post a review of something I did not read. That will be disingenuous, dishonest, and just ridiculous, and it will tarnish my credibility, my reputation, if I'm commenting on something I never even looked at. So you will not find any review from me, from my pseudonym or pen name, whatever you want to call it, Sacerdotus. You will not find a review on her author page or whatever it is that she has, because I don't have her content. I did not read it, so I'm assuming it's just her blog posts that she just made them into a book and is trying to make money off of them, even though they are available for free on her blog site. So even though we had this bit of a friction with that, which is more on her side because she was the one that were bananas and started writing defamatory posts attacking me and trying to pin people's identities on me. And I mean, that's her doing, not me. Because again, I don't see this as a battle, as a back and forth thing. That's not the way my brain registers things. She may see it that way. These other alleged atheists may see it that way as the religious guy versus the atheist. They may see it that way, but I do not see it that way. I do not see it in that tribalistic or primitive fashion. I see it more as just me trying to dialogue with you and whatnot. And of course, the dialogue is going to be rational, logical, whatnot, free from emotion, free from emotivism and whatnot. So, in light of that, I'm not going to post bad reviews on her page to try to make her look bad or whatnot. Because one, I don't see it that way. It's not a me against her thing. I do not hate this person. And most likely this person hates me for whatever reason. But I do not hate this person because it's not my personality. It's not the way my brain works. I'm not, you want to use the term programmed genetically to become spiteful. I have a different way of, higher rational way of seeing things in the world. And for the most part, conflicts and things like that, I really don't understand why a lot of people fight because for the most part, the whole thing that triggered the fight is just stupid. People fight over spilled milk. They'll fight over a look that you give them on the train. They'll fight over you drop a penny in front of them. They think, oh, you invaded my space, and then they want to kill each other. To me, I see all that as ridiculous, nonsense, stupid, whatnot. And I don't do spiteful things like that and whatnot. It just doesn't register with me. So that's why if you go to her page on Amazon and whatnot, you will not see me posting bad reviews or anything like that because I never read the thing and it's just not what I'm about. But unfortunately, not everybody's like that. We have these alleged atheists who obviously they think more on an emotional level. They think more like a caveman. They want to fight. They want to beat each other over the head with a club. So as soon as the book came out, they started posting all these fake bad reviews. And if you read the reviews themselves, and if you actually read the book, you will see that these people never even looked at the book because their comments are based more on what they perceive from me, from interacting with me on Google, Google Plus, the communities and whatnot. That's what they're basing their reviews on what they perceive me of being. And obviously, I upset them, so they're not thinking rationally; they're thinking emotionally. So they post these spiteful reviews, these fake reviews and whatnot. But I contacted Amazon about it, and they did remove some of them, and they're investigating. And Amazon has gone after people who posted bad reviews and sued them. So because it hurts their business too. Because guess what? If people buy the book on Amazon, Amazon is getting money. It's helping their bottom line. So these bad reviews don't benefit Amazon. It hurts them because then nobody's going to buy on their site. Because imagine if people go on Amazon or these other shopping networks, what's the name of it? Home Shopping Network, QVC, and all these shop at home TV channels. Suppose you go to this site and you see all their products on Amazon, books, electronics, clothing, whatever, toys, and QVC, HSN, all these other people. I'm assuming they sell clothes and all that stuff as well. Imagine if you're a consumer, you're shopping around, you're looking for something for Christmas to give as a gift, one up, and you go to these sites, and all of them have bad reviews. The products, all of their products, have bad reviews. Their TVs, their books, their clothing, and whatnot, all have bad reviews. Most likely, you're not going to buy there because if you see a product that you want to give as a gift, and there's 10 reviews or 100 reviews, all giving the product 1 star and saying that the product doesn't work, that it was made by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and whatnot, most likely you're not going to buy it. So then what happens? It triggers a chain reaction. Not only are you hurting the person who made the product, whatever it is, jewelry, electronic, clothing, whatever. Not only are you hurting their bottom line, but you're also hurting Amazon, QVC, HSN, etc. because they're not making money. And these people, these companies buy these things to sell them. And here you are posting bad reviews, trying to get people to avoid buying it. So you're hurting Amazon. And remember, you're not hurting me per se, because like I told you, these books are self-published. So there's not a stock out there. Amazon doesn't have a warehouse full of these books. Not even the place where I got it, where I made it from, Creative Space. They do not have a stock of this book. This book is printed on order. So when somebody orders it, it gets printed and shipped to that person. There are no copies out there that they just pull off a warehouse, ship it up, pack it up rather, and then ship it to you. There are none. And so I'm not losing money by the bad reviews. Amazon is, because people are not going to buy the book if they believe the reviews, which thank God they did not, because it is doing pretty well. And again, I have other ways to sell the book. It's on CreateSpace. There's other networks. There are stores that is being sold out. It's on Rent a Book as well. People can rent the book as well. It's also going to be available in libraries and college campuses and whatnot. So these bad reviews are not going to do anything for me. Pretty much, it's not affecting the book. It's actually promoting the book, because now people are curious, because these alleged atheists went on Amazon like a frenzy of sharks to post bad fake reviews in hopes that nobody will go and buy the book. Well, the opposite happened, because what's happened now is human beings are funny. Whenever they see something that's being portrayed as negative, as cheap or useless and whatnot, human beings tend to become curious about it. So they get more attracted to it. And ironically, we even see that in the book of Genesis, in the story of Adam and Eve. God tells them to eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What do? They become curious and go towards the fruit, with a little help of the serpent, of course. So human beings are like that. Human beings are curious creatures. So when you try to be spiteful, or you are spiteful, and you post a bad review, hoping that people will not buy the product or the person that you don't like because you posted a bad review or not, you're actually helping it sell, because people will look at it and say, something, that book probably is something, because if these people are taking the time to attack it, then it must worry them. It must be a threat to them. I'm going to buy it and see what it's about, to see what is scaring these people. So then I get more customers. So it's really not hurting me. It's just actually helping me. And I mean, I don't know what else to say, but thanks, I guess. I really don't know what else to say. So the book has been selling pretty good. And for those of you who go on Amazon and you see the reviews, ignore them. They're just fake reviews. I mean, just look at the dates. It just won't add up. Anybody who posted a review early on, did not have the book, so there's no way they can post a genuine review of the book because they never read it. And the people that did order the book, that emailed me about it privately, they told me they were getting theirs on the 23rd of December. So any reviews before that, I would just throw out, and they're not worth it. And again, Amazon is investigating. They did remove some other reviews, and they are investigating. And I mean, if they go after these people and sue them, that these people brought it on themselves, because you shouldn't do that. I mean, don't review something unless you have it, because you're committing libel, and it's against the law, and you're hurting Amazon's bottom line by doing that, because you're trying to get people to not buy something that they have as a product. So, I mean, you want to get in trouble with the law, then, I mean, do what you want. If you have the money to hire a lawyer and go through all the trouble and pay damages, then, I mean, then go ahead, do what you need to do. But I personally will not do it. I will not go and post bad reviews to then get sued by Amazon or whoever, and then have to find money to pay for a lawyer and legal bills. And then if I lose, I have to pay whatever damages. It doesn't make any sense to go through all that trouble. Just deal with it. I mean, people that you don't like are going to be successful whether you like it or not. I mean, get over it. You try to be successful. Try to channel that spitefulness into something positive. Write a book yourself. I mean, it's not really hard. It doesn't have to be over 200 pages like I did. I mean, it's not really rocket science. It's just that something I like to do. I like to write. I like to read. I like to do research. So anyhow, this book, I pretty much critique atheism. And what I mean by that is that I select certain arguments, certain concepts that many atheists like to use, especially online atheists, or the so-called new atheists, and also draw upon my own experience of being an atheist most of my life, 20 years or so, and 20 plus years, and present these arguments, explain it to the reader, so that those people who have not been exposed to atheist or atheist arguments can know what I'm talking about. So I introduce the topic or the argument or whatever, and then I start to dissect it. I start to show why it doesn't work, why this argument doesn't work, why it's quote unquote stupid. And then I use extra sources to refute it, to debunk it, depending on what it is. If it's scientific, then I use science. If it's philosophical, I use philosophical. If the argument is based on something from the Bible, then I use the Bible. Depending on what perspective the argument comes from, I use what's connected, what's related to it, to dissect it and refute it and debunk it. And in many instances, I use several of things. So even if the argument is about something in the Bible, not only do I use the Bible to debunk it, but I also use history. I also use science, philosophy, all different types of disciplines, knowledge from these disciplines, to refute it. So I want to make that clear, because I know a lot of atheists have issue whenever a theist or a Christian uses the Bible to answer them when their question has to do with the Bible. So I want to make that clear, that this book is not something that they're used to. This is a whole completely way of tackling atheism, and it is written at the academic level. It doesn't mean that it's hard. I mean, yes, there are some big words out there, and I really do not expect a lot of people to know the words because they're scientific or philosophical or not. They're not words that are used in everyday language, but I explain them, so you do not have to worry about trying to figure out what the heck is he saying. It doesn't make sense. I explain it to you there in the book so that you won't have to be scratching your head and you won't have to be getting a dictionary or Googling it or whatnot to try to know what the heck I'm talking about. I throw in the terminology, the words up there, and then I explain it and whatnot. So, again, this book is meant to show how stupid the concept of atheism is, using not only my fields of study, which are physics, psychology, biology, and psychology, and of course other things that I study under that those umbrellas, because you have to study electives in college. I mean, so I had to pick other things to study. I took journalism classes, history classes, and mathematics, of course, which is part of the science branch. And what else? Sociology and things like that. Things that you have to study as part of the curriculum of the colleges and whatnot. Specifically in CUNY, they make you take all these different classes in order for you to fulfill the major or whatnot. So I got the opportunity to learn about all these different fields. I even took a class about the mafia, if that is any interest to you. So I learned about the mafia, so I'm pretty good at what the mafia is about and whatnot. But that's a whole different topic. Whatever. I think I even posted a blog post. Yeah, I did, about John F. Kennedy and Mar- Marcello and the whole thing, whether he was the one that killed JFK or not. So I even studied that. And so anyhow, I mainly used the my fields of study and a couple of other fields to reference and to refute and argue against these arguments from atheism and whatnot. And again, I want to make it clear that this book is not meant to attack atheists, I should say, and it's not meant to attack atheists. It's not meant to single anybody out. I do mention names in the book, well-known atheists, both public and online, and by public I mean like Richard Dawkins and Lawrence Krauss and whatnot, and by private or online I mean people like bloggers and alleged atheists on Google Plus and Twitter and this and that who have encountered me since 2009. So I do mention them. I'm not attacking them, of course. I'm just quoting from them many times and just criticizing certain things that they said or whatnot, or certain ideas that they hold. That's pretty much what I do. I do not go around in the book calling Richard Dawkins an idiot or a moron or atheist XYC, imbecile or whatnot. I do not do that. I see no point on doing that. So, because then that would be an ad hominem. The whole book will be based on an ad hominem, and it's not. So, I do not do any of that. What I do is attack the concept of atheism itself, and the major, most commonly used arguments that atheists, mainly the so-called new atheists, use to try to stump theists and Christians and whatnot. And I'm actually going to go through the book right now. But first, I'm going to check if anybody posted a comment or something, or a question or anything in the comment box. I think I want to see. In the meantime, I'll try to get a little bit of H2O to relax my voice a bit. This is probably getting a bit raspy. Okay, so I'm back, and so back to the book. Again, I wish I had a webcam. If I had a webcam, this would be much easier. So instead of you just seeing the the Cairo on the screen with partial pen name at the bottom, you can actually see me holding the book, or at least me showing the book. But I have the book here. You can hear me flipping the pages, and just gonna pick certain selections on it. Or you know what? I'll just go through the table of contents. If you're on my site, just look at the blog post where it says the book is for sale, and you could actually see an image of the table of contents. So if you want to follow along from there. But anyhow, the table of contents. See, I have the dedication, of course, thanking people. They acknowledges acknowledgments of, which is I thank people that help me out by donating money and whatnot to help me get things together, keep my site domain name and things like that. So I thank them because they were really helpful, and just for trusting me that I'm not somebody trying to take people's money, which I'm not. So I wanted to thank them not for doing that, for being generous. And I have the why write this book, and basically that part of the book is what, like it says, why am I writing a book? Why if I'm writing blogs, why did I just decide to write books? And pretty much to sum that up is I say here that books are sacred to me. They are something sacred to me, and they contain a wealth of information. And I wanted to be somebody to contribute to that information in the world. And in the world, there's a lot of books. There's books on different topics, different genres, and whatnot. And that information is out there as part of the knowledge of the human experience. And I'm sure if, God forbid, the world was going to self destruct or something happen, like in the movie 2012 or whatever, I'm sure